What's up, Jet fans? The Jets got a win against the Bears. They are now 7-4, beating the Bears in a pretty dominant win, I would say. They won another game against a backup quarterback, Trevor Siemian, who Jet fans might be familiar with, but a win's a win. So, before we jump into the actual game, I want to talk about just Mike White versus Zach Wilson. Going into this week, Mike White got the start instead of Zach Wilson, and I think that's a pretty interesting thing, and especially like going into the week, I thought maybe they were just gonna sit Zach Wilson for a week after a pretty bad Patriots game and let him like calm down or something. But everything coming out of the Jets and all the media and stuff is acting like, oh no, they are fully moving on from Zach Wilson. He is not the answer, and I think that's pretty interesting. He's a young kid, and I know we've made all these excuses, and yes, the Patriots game was a really bad game, but I was more just surprised, honestly, of them just nope, Zach Wilson's no longer the quarterback and Mike White is. Obviously, Mike White did get a win here, which is pretty exciting. But I will say, before Jet fans get super excited and stuff, he beat the Bears defense, which is not that good. It's pretty bad. And yeah, Zach Wilson sometimes would not be able to dominate against a bad defense and Mike White did here, so that's good to see. But I will just caution Jet fans, maybe let's wait another week, see if he can do it again, or at least play good and not against a good defense. So he beat the Bears in a really bad defense in a really dominant win, which is exciting to see. But let's just calm down, and we'll see what happens with this whole quarterback situation. Going into the actual game, like I said, Mike White looked really good against a really bad defense, and he was able to just dominate this not that good defense, which was exciting to see. Also, Garrett Wilson, he had lots of big plays in a touchdown, which was just really great to see. I don't even know if I want to call him an emerging star, honestly. I feel like he is just a star now, which is really exciting. A real true number one threat. Um, and Elijah Moore also finally got a touchdown, which was just really great. I don't know what was happening with him. He requested a trade and he didn't get traded, so he's an official Jet now. So let's not pick on him or whatever the Jets were doing with him, and he got a touchdown, which was good. Also, I will say James Robinson was a healthy scratch, which was weird, but Zonovan Knight had his very first game and he was the leading rusher for the Jets, so that's pretty good and exciting to see a young guy like that. And like I said, once again, going back with the Zach Wilson versus Mike White thing, Mike White now had also lots of guys who Zach Wilson did not have. Like he had Corey Davis and Max Mitchell both returned, and I think they just really helped out the offense. And so I do think it's a little unfair to evaluate Zach Wilson and Mike White right now, anyways. Let's see if Mike White can continue to win and play like this against not terrible defenses. But once again, the offense looked really good this game, which they should. So that was good to see. The defense, it was worrying in the first quarter and going into the first half, I would say. Like the Bears offense, I know is kind of good, but they didn't have Justin Fields. So it was just concerning to see the Bears leading at one point. Um, but they rebounded, especially after halftime, and they just beat a backup quarterback, which is exactly what you expect from a dominant defense. So that's good to see. And I will say, once again, Sauce Gardner, I love him, and he doesn't get called on that many times, which is surprising to me. In this game, he got called on once, but they actually declined it because they caught the pass anyways. But his physical style of playing is a little concerning. Like there's something that he needs to do to not make it pass interference, and he just is not doing that. He just is attacking the passer, which if it doesn't get called on is great, but when it does get called on, it could really bite you in the back, which is just not very good. But so I hope they work on that or something. But for some reason, he's not getting called on. And once again, the defense just played really good this game. In conclusion, looking past this game, they have a really tough schedule ahead of them, which once again, like I said in my last video, is exactly why they needed to beat the Bears if they have any playoff hopes. Um, but if they so the two easy games coming up are the Lions and the Jags, and they have to win those two games in my opinion. That would and so that's like 9 wins, and then if they could maybe get one more tough win I don't know who it would be against, maybe the Seahawks or maybe the Dolphins, I don't know. Then that would bring you up to 10-7 or maybe 11-6. And 10-7 is borderline playoffs, especially in this division. And then 11-6, I would say it would be wild if that doesn't make the playoffs. But we're still hoping. They need to get the easy wins, which they did in this game, and then they need to scrape out a couple tough wins, which I think and I hope the Jets can do. Anyways, this week was a win, and I think it's pretty exciting. We'll be looking into Mike White versus Zach Wilson and see what's happening there. But anyways, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.